Now, granted, this is supposed to be a tactical show, a tactical review of Chelsea's performance against West Ham, but there's certain things that I just can't ignore anymore, in particular the PGMOL. Chelsea travel to London Stadium and draw 1-1 against West Ham. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour.
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against West Ham. But before we get into all that, ladies and gentlemen, please do me the favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest and newest. It will help me with the algorithm. As you know, we are trying to grow this channel, and it will help my sponsors who go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, hit them up. The link will be in the description. Okay, so Chelsea came out in what largely was a 4-2-3-1 with Enzo next to Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the sixes. And just a little bit ahead of them, we had Felix in the free role, number 10, just basically finding pockets of space to stitch the attack together. And you know, the very first parts of the first half, I thought that was very effective. I thought Chelsea were very good at finding spaces, finding gaps of space and whatnot, and exploiting them. You know, fine margins here and there for the two or three goals that we did score that were chalked off as offside. But for the most part, we were finding openings, and you know, the game plan seemed to be working. You know, the problem that I had with this game was just that Chelsea are not consistently playing that style of football. The tempo is extremely slow, and the ideation in the final third is coming in fits and starts. It happens for about 20 minutes, and then we just don't see it again. And, you know, that is largely down to just organization and preparation on the pitch, and I just don't see it. You know, we spent a lot of money to get this squad playing attacking-minded football, and we still don't have any real semblance of a game plan that is going to be taking us forward, a game plan that is, you know, being implemented and we see the fruits of. You know, we see it in fits and starts. We see 10 minutes here, we see 15 minutes here, we see 20 minutes here, but overall, we're not seeing a complete game plan. We're not seeing a complete 90 minutes being executed. And, you know, that is an indictment on the management. Obviously, he's got a lot of new players to integrate. He's got a lot of, you know, players coming back from injury and whatnot. But ultimately, we're not seeing enough of the style of football that we want to see at Chelsea right now. You know, like from when he started till now, I can tell you the amount of times I've seen Chelsea play a complete 90. And that is down to management. Like, you have to be able to consistently provoke these types of performances from the team. You know, when we go into halftime, you come back out at the halftime and the team looks completely different. You know, there's a complete difference in how we played the first half to how we played the second half. The opposition seems to be making adjustments, and we're not really reacting. We're basically just trying to batten down the hatches and protect what little lead that we have, as opposed to like doing what we're supposed to be best at, keeping the ball, building attacks, and scoring goals. You know, this is what we're built to do, and we're just not doing that enough. So, you know, I'm not ragging on Graham Potter. I think that, like, he needs time. That is obvious, but at the same time, he's been here for long enough now that we should be seeing some sort of a game plan implemented. I want to see more ideation in the final third. I want to see you work the ball to our more clever players. Like, what is going on that left flank right now? Why is Cucurella allergic to passing the ball to Mudryk, who's in 1v1 situations against Soufal of all people? You know, what is the point of holding onto the ball or recycling it back to our defenders when you have a guy that's in a 1v1 situation who is very dangerous in those scenarios? What is the point of keeping the ball away from a guy that clearly has the ability to dribble past and make things happen in the final third? He just didn't get enough touches. He could not get into the game because every time the ball came to the left, granted, Chelsea were working the overload to the right, and you saw that Reece James was a little bit higher than Cucurella in a lot of the situations. The back three was made up of Cucurella, you know, Thiago Silva, and Badiashile. But even still, he had acres of space to play the ball into Mudryk, and we're just not seeing him get the ball. What is being told to these guys? For large chunks of that game, it just seems like Chelsea were just reacting to what West Ham was doing and not being proactive and you know, dictating the game. You know, that's what I want to see from this Chelsea side. We had Enzo on the pitch. We had Felix. We had Mudryk. We had Madueke. We had Kai Havertz. These are all attack-minded players that you assume, you know, when you get them in the final third, they know what to do. And it just seems like to me that even still, with all the amount that we spent, all the attacking talent that we brought onto the pitch, you know, it's still just individual brilliance that we're relying on and not any real tactical game plan on how to open teams, how to pull players out of position to get guys in behind. You know, it happened in fits and starts, I guess. You know, in the first half, I saw one particular play where Cucurella went infield and attracted the defense, opened up space, and then Kai Havertz got in behind. And, you know, if on another occasion, you know, obviously he's a step offside, you know, that's a goal. You know, that's the type of things I want to see more consistently, though, you know, where we have movement off the ball. We have players pulling people out of position, you know, and decoys and whatnot. And, like, just an overall game plan. You know, what are we trying to achieve on the pitch rather than just recycling possession with our defenders and our midfielders, you know? Like, I want to see us have some teeth in the final third. I want to see us have a game plan of how we want to open teams in the final third. And right now, we're just not doing that enough. Now, it wasn't all bad yesterday. We did see some good performances once again. Enzo Fernandez. Wow, what a ball. What a ball into João Felix for the goal. I mean, those two seem to be having a real natural partnership connection there. It's something that we sorely miss too, to be honest with you. Not just, you know, a deep-lying playmaker like Fernandez, but just somebody that can operate in the half spaces and understands when to make runs, you know, times them well, and gets into open space often, you know, and moves the ball quickly, you know, stitches together, that link between the midfield and the attackers. This is what you get from João Felix, and I feel like, you know, he's showing his quality. He's showing his real quality every time he steps onto the pitch for Chelsea, which has only really been for 2 games right now. But every time you see him in possession of the football for Chelsea, he's doing something clever with it. He's doing something that, you know, keeps the defense on its toes, you know, keeps them on their back heels. You know, you don't know if he's going to go left or right. You don't know if he's going to lob the ball in over the top. You don't know if he's going to be like spraying the balls out to the flanks and whatnot. Like, this is the type of player I want in the number 10 position. This is the type of player that you want to be the brain of your offense, a guy that ultimately has unpredictability in his game, you know, can stitch together attacking moves, can get in behind, can score goals, and he's displaying that right now. It's going to be very hard for me to see Mason Mount get back into the side given that display. Maybe the formation to play Mason Mount is a 4-3-3 where he can play as a number 8, come a little bit deeper. I mean, that would probably mean that somebody like Mudryk would have to come off the bench, which is kind of what I think that he should do anyways. I feel like he has more impact from there at this point in time. Just feel like his change of pace and whatnot coming in like at the 30-minute mark of a game where he can just really run at tired defenses and give them something else to think about might be the game plan going forward. And you put Felix out on the left flank, give him the ability to come inside, come infield, and do the magical things that he's been doing, connecting with Mason Mount, connecting with Kai Havertz, connecting with whoever's on the right flank or whatever. But ultimately, I think that going forward, we have to see more João Felix on the pitch because the things that he's done is making him indispensable in the side. I mean, obviously, you're going to see Enzo Fernandez regardless, whether it's down to just the health of the squad or his ability on the ball. He's going to be playing a lot. And I feel like their partnership right now is just now starting to form. We're just starting to see the origin of what it could look like to have a link between the midfield and the attack. And that needs to be continued. That needs to have continuity and, you know, more. We need to see more of that. In a season where we've lacked cohesion and we've lacked a real understanding on the pitch, you know, guys coming in and out of the lineup, the one thing that you can hold on to after this game is the fact that Enzo and Felix have a natural partnership. There is a natural understanding there. You know, elite players understand the movements of elite players. You know, game sees game. That portion of our game needs to be solidified. We need to have that link and continue to see that going forward. I mean, here's an instance here where, you know, Kai Havertz is right in line with the defenders right now, and he does not have to cheat to get in behind here. He's running against Ogbonna and whoever the central defender is, but, you know, oftentimes when he has the beating of his man, like in this position here with Cucurella in position and about to play it over the top, he cheats, and I don't know why he needs to cheat here. All you need to do is just use your pace, use your natural pace, and you're in behind and you get in for the goal, you know. But, you know, here he just doesn't time it well, and, beautiful ball played in by Cucurella is wasted because of the lack of timing, the lack of, trusting his natural pace and ability to get in behind. And that's the other thing too. How many times has that happened the last 2 or 3 matches with Kai Havertz where he's got the beating of his man? They're playing a high line where he can easily just use his natural pace to get in behind and just time the run quickly. There's another instance with Thiago Silva playing a ball in from behind, just direct ball right down the middle of the pitch, and Kai Havertz again just does not time the run correctly, and we lose another goal scoring opportunity as a result. He's just got to be better at that. I know he's not an out and out number 9, a guy that understands when to make his runs and whatnot, but he's been there for long enough now that he's got to be able to trust his instincts and trust his ability, his pace, his physicality to get him into better positions, because this leaning offside thing is just killing all of these great attacking moves that we've had the last couple of games. Now guys, I just gotta get my soapbox real quick because I'm just sick and tired of the EPL, FA, PGMOL just getting so many decisions so wrong and not having any accountability for it as well. To the letter of the law, Souček goes to ground, impacts the play with his hand, and that is 100% stonewall penalty, not given, not reviewed. I don't understand how you can have VAR, have a system set up to right the wrongs of a referee on the pitch who may not have seen it or whatever, and still get it wrong. This makes absolutely no sense to me. And this is not the first time this has happened. If we remember back in the early parts of the season where Tottenham are down 2-1, Cucurella gets his head tugged down by Romero, and obviously no review there, and they score the goal to equalize. This has just happened way too often for it to be accidental. Checks go into VAR and then this right decision not being awarded. They have absolutely no problem with punishing teams for infractions for, whatever conduct on the pitch or off the pitch in the case of Man City. And you just don't see the same sort of accountability when these referees make glaring errors. This is millions and millions of dollars that is being, lost in these poor decisions. If Chelsea get those 4 points that they're rightfully supposed to have right now, we're 6th. That's a lot of money. That's millions and millions of pounds that we do not have now because of poor decisions by referees, or lack thereof, or not making the right decisions, and then coming back later and saying, well, we missed it. You don't miss that when you have VAR. I'm sorry, you cannot miss those calls when you have VAR there to back you up. It's to the point where you start to believe that there's corruption in the game. You have to start seeing that because these are blatant missed calls. And if it's down to just incompetency on the refereeing part, it seems to me half the time they've struggled to grasp the rule book. They haven't understood the rule book that they're trying to enforce. This is just, anyone that watches football would have seen that handball, even a casual watcher, and said that that's a handball. You have the referee on the pitch that cannot make the call, does not make the call, and then you have the VAR official who's in charge of VAR looking at the incident and does not award the penalty. How are you interpreting the rules to say that is not a stonewall penalty? And then you look at the other end, the scrutiny that was given to chalk off offside, which is as plain as day that Declan Rice was offside. They took about 4 or 5 minutes to review that one situation when they didn't even bat an eye at a clear handball in the area. It's not even a joke anymore. They're not even trying to hide the fact that there's bias in this game right now. What is the standard of refereeing in the Premier League? And why do you have this league that is worth billions of dollars and have these referees that can't simply understand the rules that are supposed to be enforced? It's beyond a joke, and I don't know what the answer is. Maybe the solution is just to get an independent council of referees to come in and, adjudicate these decisions, adjudicate games, because it's clear to me though, week after week after week, we just have poor referee decision after poor referee decision. And it doesn't seem to be happening in the other leagues. If you watch in La Liga, you watch Serie A, any of the leagues, you don't see the referees becoming such a nuisance in the game. You don't see decisions that are so blatantly obvious go against teams. It's just crazy to think that this is the league, the most watched league in the world, getting decisions that are so blatantly obvious wrong so often. So I don't know what the solution is. Maybe it is an independent council to come in and just officiate these games, because Clearly, what we have in the PGMOL right now is just incompetence at the highest level. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. Ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea unable to get 3 points at London Stadium versus West Ham. And for once, it's not the playing staff, it's not the manager, it's the referees. Poor refereeing decisions. This league that has billions at stake, millions and millions of dollars at stake, have these referees that don't have a strong grasp of the rule book or are not enforcing the rule book to the letter of the law in certain situations. Like, that is clearly handball. There's no way you can misinterpret that. That is a handball and a penalty, 3 points to Chelsea. I was actually thinking who's going to take the penalty at that point in time. I wasn't even considering that was not going to be, awarded. And, to my surprise, the Premier League does not cease to amaze me as how many times these poor referees cost teams points. But we move, we did have some good performances. I thought that Enzo and Felix, that link up is a growing partnership that I think that we can build on, and I really do think that they need more of a run of time together before we see anything else brought back into the fold. Maybe you try and play Mason Mount as the number 8 and you play Felix off to the left and give Mudryk, the cameo off the bench. Maybe that's something you might see going forward. But right now, if we're sticking to a 4-2-3-1, I can't see a way where Mason Mount gets back into that side because he's not a winger and he's clearly leagues below what we're getting from Felix and the understanding between Felix and Fernandez. I thought we also had a good performance from Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming in, and partnering with Fernandez and giving them, that 4-2-3-1 obviously liberates Enzo in a way that he can get on the ball a little bit more and dictate what we're trying to do. And man, if you see him in that role, that's exactly why you paid 121 million euros for him. He's effective on the ball, and he's a guy that when you give him the opportunities and the bullets, he's going to find openings like he did for that one goal today. And yeah, into Ruben's defense, to praise him a bit, he came in and played a flawless game to me. He got caught in possession a couple times and, probably should have released the shot a little bit earlier or passed it a little bit early when he got in behind. But overall, he's giving us what we need from that double pivot and that, and gave us some good minutes there, long way to continue. If it comes down to playing Gallagher there or Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I know where I'm putting my trust, and that's in Ruben because he's clearly playing at a higher level when he comes into the game. But like I said, we got a big game. This is what it's all about for me right now, guys. This is a big game in the midweek, right? If we took our foot off the gas versus West Ham, then with our eye on this game in the midweek against Dortmund in the Champions League, then I can excuse it. But I want to see guns blazing in this game. I know it's an away game, and Dortmund are in good form, but we have to be on our game. This is the Champions League. This is an opportunity to show that we deserve to be on this stage, on this level. We have the players to open teams, really good teams, and we have to utilize them. No more of this hiding, with Cucurella allergic to passing the ball to Mudryk. Maybe even Chilwell starts that game, who knows? But, we need to see what, has been culminating on the training pitch and see it implemented in this game against Dortmund. I don't want to see anything short of a win. I want to see Chelsea take the game to Dortmund. We have the ability to do it. We have the weapons. We just have to have the game plan and the execution. But until then, guys, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea. Peace.